In his spare time, Lloyd tried to teach Zero to understand simple commands. The result was that Zero could understand those commands, but he didn't yet grasp more complex ones. Then, Silpa suggested that Lloyd consult with Elise, his older sister, who was 3 years older than Lloyd. When Lloyd arrived at Elise's place, Elise immediately jumped and kissed Lloyd due to his affection and cuteness. In addition, Elise also hugged Zero and petted him like he was her own pet. Seeing Elise's behavior, Silpa doubted whether she truly understood the concept of mana. Because of this, Silpa told Lloyd to just go home. However, when Lloyd asked Elise to show her pet monster, the monster suddenly appeared behind them. This led Lloyd to assume that Elise could give complex commands to her monster. Because of this, he asked Elise to teach him how to communicate with Zero.
Still, that's not the real question, is when did she issue the command? The Fenrir knew to wait, and snatched Silpha's headband without us noticing. So, those were complex orders without any indication. Meow!
Sister, please teach me! I want to be able to communicate. It won't be a simple task. It's difficult? I'm all in! With animals, the most important ingredient. I'm ready to love!
Elise explained that the key was love. By having love, one could understand the monsters and move them according to one's will. Silpa and Elise's servants didn't understand the explanation, but Lloyd quickly realized that Elise wasn't giving direct commands to the animals. Instead, without realizing it, Elise was connected with them through mana. When Lloyd tried to understand this concept and apply it, he succeeded in controlling Zero according to his will.
Of what you want. Instead of image. Take my...
Oh my! I didn't hear him vocalize a command!
Sheer perfection, Cheeto! The speed, the positioning, even how you bar! Beast! He has the same skills as a monster tamer!
True.
You're wrong! It's just love! Or whatever!
Well, sure. Love's an important fact. Only gained your abilities because of your affection for animals.
Not long after, Albert took Lloyd to a place where he wanted to introduce him to Diane, his older brother, who worked as a blacksmith. After hearing the news that his younger brother had managed to strengthen his sword, Diane found it hard to believe. Therefore, he asked Lloyd to prove it in front of him. Afterward, Lloyd demonstrated his skills in front of them, and as a result, Diane was truly amazed by Lloyd's strengthening abilities.
Years I was gone, or I'm gonna be disappointed in him.
How does that look? Your face melted!
Oh, his enchanting technique is unique, quick and effortless.
If he is this, it's got reinforced strength and elasticity. It's just so... Well, Lloydie boy, you're legit. There's a real chance to make my dream the ultimate spell.
Without thinking much, Diane immediately offered him a partnership to develop flying magic weapons. The first weapon they planned to create was a sword that could shoot fire. However, even though Lloyd successfully created the magical mechanism, when the magic was placed on the metal, it immediately shattered before it could be forged. A while later, Silpa arrived to help, but unfortunately, no one could do much because the reinforcing material they used turned out to be unsuitable for forging the magic sword. They needed a material called hematita, which was rare. Silpa suggested that they look for it in a dungeon and also wanted to take Lloyd along to explore the dungeon to broaden his horizons. When registering at the guild, Lloyd tried to suppress his power so that it wouldn't stand out. But even though his magic had been concealed, it was still ranked A, which was the most promising rank after Silver Sword.
My mana even tighter than usual, and suppressing the amount flowing through my... Fainter. Down to the level of a team.
He got an overall rate D.
Oh no, this is remarkable. His magic is
That's weird. I thought I flattened my mana to 1% of its normal...
Lloyd is the most promising new adventurer since
The Silver Sword referred to Silpa's title when she was still an adventurer. Realizing that they were going to explore a dungeon, after that Dao came and offered help, which would speed up their dungeon conquest more than expected. They quickly arrived and provided the necessary materials.
Sooner than you think. Look behind you.
Huh?
We're back!
Boy, no. Lloyd is one hell of a kid.
The next day, When Diane tried the results of the magic enhancement on Lloydo's sword, he was very surprised by its destructive power.
See? Told you.
Went a little too hard on that one.
That night, when he was about to rest, Lloydo sensed the presence of an intruder in the middle of the garden.
But what is it? There's none of your typical... Shido's really perceptive, and he has...
To prevent the intruder from escaping, Lloydo immediately created a large barrier. When the intruder tried to engage in conversation, he instead attacked with a poisonous magic that was unlike any other. Only Lloydo could purify it, as the poison was made from a special type of mana that was unknown to common people.
Able to neutralize what purify is supposed to neutralize all known toxins. Hers is unknown. She's transmuting the nature of her poison. Individuals who are born with a special type of mana. Those who are known as the Blighted. That's what you're thinking. From birth, I've been spreading sickness. I'm known as Rai. She broke through my barrier. She must... You only took in a bit of my poison, so you won't die. I know.
Although Lloydo was now able to move, he chose to remain silent and let the intruder escape. He thought that the person might lead him to their previous hideout. Silpa had once told him about the existence of a bounty hunter because of his very unique abilities, and Lloydo was certain that the person was one of them. Upon arriving at the hideout, Ren reported to his comrades that he had been discovered and had to flee. However, he had gathered important information about the castle, which was mass-producing weapons. Shortly after that, one of their members noticed someone watching them. Since they had already been discovered, Lloydo challenged them without using his shield.
The poison should still be working on him!
Serious?
Producing spellbound swords? They say he acts ordinary, but in...
We can never allow the boy to leave this place.
Really? I'll let you go and drop your shield, boss! I'm dealing with people who have you in action. Where's the fun in going on the defense? Trace on, let's see what you've got. Better if you stay back, Grim. Sure.
Babylon was the first one he fought. As seen, he was more flexible than the others, able to twist his body without feeling pain, unlike Babylon.
Standing!
I suppose that introductions are in order. As you... I can twist my body around, enough to fit through tiny space Blighted. Babylon the giant rat.
You don't get that bendy. His body is as unique as it gets!
Other members also had unique abilities. Crow could turn mana in his speech into destructive curses, Galilei could transmute mana into sticky liquids like spider webs, and Teria could share any wounds she saw with others.
Crow's mana is bound to his origin of spells. Galilea's ability to transmute his mana into power to create poison. Huh? Boost strength!
Sweetie, you're in a very dangerous situation, wearing not much more fear and shame at some point. Then perhaps I can help you Hurts, doesn't it? Pains. As the pain blighted, I'm able to share my damage with anyone.
Does that work?
After observing all their attacks, Lloydo began his counterattack to study their defenses. When Lloydo started attacking, none of them were able to match his strength, even though he was fighting unarmed and applying Silpa's sword techniques.
I hope you're ready. You handle defense!
Huh? For a second, the breath...
Wait, hold on. You mean the one that you and Crow fought before?
Who the hell's this prince? Heard he was a magic prodigy. What is going on here?
Stick body of yours. Let's see how it takes a fall!
He relaxed at the moment of impact to mitigate the damage.
Get blown away!
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
You're up next. Attack! House of Language! Dual Blade Craft! Hey!
Nice try, really. You didn't finish up.
You might have frozen me in my tracks!
Rat Babylon!
A bolt spell? I struck before he could, but now I'm intrigued. Not enough to...
Babylon!
No, stop! Don't move! Your webbing is stuck to my dress! Fool! Why'd you have to get so close? Everything sticks! Control your eyes and look away! Prince, it doesn't matter whether I injure myself or you do. The effect works. In short, I'd advise against attacking me.
Myself! Wolf Fang! You were infuriating! The pain's...
I've got you, you second psychopath! You can't use your weapons now!
Yakukin. Single point focus.
No!
Using an armor of webbing to defuse the impact? All of you are Let's see your poison again!
Come out! He's out of his mind!
It's not
Stop, Prince. She can't control her poison. We'll all be affected.
After all of them were defeated, Galilei explained why they had turned to crime. They had never had full control over their powers and had endangered those around them. Since no one was willing to accept them, they had no choice but to take on dirty jobs. Upon hearing this, Lloyd did something to help regulate their mana flow, allowing them to control their powers and no longer hurt others. Although this was his first attempt, the magic seemed to have worked, so Lloyd asked them to test it on him again.
It's under control!
You can manipulate your abilities now. You weren't able to do it on your... That was spewing all over should be circulating in your body. Before, but it looks like it worked.
It's gone. I'm free at last.
It's not exactly gone. Time.
So long!
Wow! A whole sentence!
Or
Look at me! I can hurt myself without injuring other people!
our powers, we just have control over them.
It worked!
Yeah!
However, there was something more important they wanted to discuss. They wanted to talk about many things because Lloyd had shown them a new path. Lloyd wasn't interested in listening, but as a way to atone for their past mistakes, they wanted to share how they became bounty hunters. Galilei explained that their leader was the owner of teleportation magic. However, due to not being able to control his power, he kept shifting locations, so they rarely met him. Nevertheless, before he left, he had given the idea to form a bounty hunter team. This allowed them to start receiving many jobs and gave them hope for the future. At the same time, they heard news that the ruler of Lordos was preparing for war. While listening to Galilei's explanation, a letter suddenly appeared through teleportation magic. The letter was from Jade, the person who had been their leader all this time. In the letter, Jade stated that he had overthrown the ruler of Lordos and was now the new ruler. After receiving the letter, they were eager to meet Jade. Ren also begged Lloyd to join them to help restore their magic flow. Jade, intrigued by teleportation magic, had Lloyd accompany them to the Lordos kingdom. To make the journey faster, Lloyd even used high-speed flying magic to bring them there. Not long after, Silpa arrived to pick him up. However, since Lloyd was no longer there, Silpa assumed he had been kidnapped by the bounty hunters. When the people of Lordos heard this, without thinking, Albert declared war on Lordos.
Is it the Lord? How did this happen?
2, 1!
Meanwhile, when Lloyd was almost at the Lordos palace, the others collapsed along the way. Because of this, Lloyd was forced to let them rest for a while in the Ren forest. He then tried to find food and wanted to show off his abilities, having grown up in the forest area. When Ren was still young, Babylon shared that poison had killed his parents. Since no one cared about him anymore, Jade took him to the headquarters to join his team. On a different day, Jade revealed that he was the second son of the Lordos ruler. The reason he formed the group was to build strength to fight against his evil family. At that time, he wanted to become the ruler and restore the kingdom so that everyone could live happily.
Dangerous! Hey, Kalia!
My entire life has felt like one long punishment. Until I'm... I want to forget about Lordos and live here. The bond we share, it's gotta be what a real... I want to stay, but Lordos is going to start a war of something I can't ignore. More than anything, listen, I want you to promise me, keep the guild alive. Don't give up on your dream of living in the sunlight. If I do manage to make it back, it means make it a place where Blighted can be free. where our kind can live together.
I'm stressy.
After taking a short rest, the bounty hunter team continued their journey. However, since Lloyd was fast asleep, Ren suggested that Grimm stay behind to watch over Lloyd. He was worried that Jade might be manipulated and send a letter to trap them. Grimm said that Lloyd could protect himself even while asleep, so it would be better to go with the others to ensure his safety. Upon arriving at the palace, they were warmly welcomed and saw Jade, who had succeeded in his goal. The others were deeply moved and couldn't hold back their tears of joy. Ren actually wanted to say many things to Jade, but for some reason, he couldn't speak after understanding the situation. Grimm intended to wake Lloyd up, but when he went to fetch him, all the inhabitants of the castle started acting strangely. It turned out that the person they met wasn't their old friend. It was actually a demon that had taken over Jade's body to gain his teleportation ability.
Was not like it matters.
Grimm tried to fight back, but the demon easily knocked him away with a single blow. Besides targeting Jade, the demon also wanted to steal the abnormal powers of Ren and his friends to weaken their consciousness.
That demon interfered. As he lost. What an imbecile.
The demon explained all the suffering Jade had endured when his body was taken over. However, when Ren noticed a strange spell on the demon's hand, he focused on it. The demon became distracted by the spell, wondering about its effects and who had cast it.
There's someone I want you to meet. He made it so...
Friends to me. Sell all of them out. Give up your friends to...
Tell me the fool's name. Who placed that?
When Lloyd arrived, a very bright magic circle appeared. Just as a huge explosion occurred, capable of destroying anything it touched, the demon Gizam, who controlled Jade's body, managed to avoid the blast. Some of his followers also survived, as they were outside the blast's range. After that, Lloyd asked the others to leave while he took care of the rest. Gizam ordered his subordinates to chase anyone trying to escape, as they were skilled in hiding, making them hard to find. Lloyd wouldn't let that happen, so he bombarded them with his magical power. When Gizam began attacking, the magic energy released was able to penetrate barriers. Had Lloyd not dodged, the spell could have pierced his heart. Grimm explained that demons were classified by rank, from 1st class demons to 10th class, the lowest. However, Gizam was not one of those classes. He was an upper-class noble demon, which meant even Lloyd might not be able to defeat him. Despite this, Lloyd did not retreat. He approached de Saloum, determined to fight. When de Saloum asked his name, Lloyd replied that he was just the 7th prince. De Saloum recalled something about Lloyd from Jade's memories and felt a strong urge to meet him. Lloyd also expressed his wish to meet Jade, but it seemed unlikely to happen. Grimm still suggested fleeing, but Lloyd stayed silent, giving de Saloum the opportunity to strike first. Although using little mana, de Saloum's attack could penetrate thick defenses. To prevent further damage, Lloyd decided to dodge. After a series of attacks, Lloyd landed safely, unharmed. However, shortly after landing, de Saloum suddenly launched a surprise attack, using his teleportation ability to quickly and accurately throw a magic spear at Lloyd. Meanwhile, the bounty hunter team was still being chased by de Saloum's subordinates. As Babylon tried to open a portal, Galilei used his slime net to stop the enemy's movement. Then, Crom forced them to surrender with his curse words. Despite the combination of attacks, the demons rose again. Teria had to intervene, using her pain-sharing ability to prevent the demons from moving.
数人は殺せるがね。沈め！巻き込まねえピンポイント呪言。クロウの能力も進化してる。門を開けた。そんですぐに閉める。
嘘だろ。
でも逃げてみせろ。無駄だがね。
全て見る。着想。
Teria told her friends to leave first, but Ren didn't want to abandon her. However, Galilei pushed her out and closed the portal, apparently intending to stay with Teria, even if it meant using his deadly attack. The demons thought it would never happen, but Teria didn't hesitate to decapitate herself so they would be decapitated as well. Ren and the others were desperate. They couldn't stop Teria or save her. Fortunately, troops from the Saloum kingdom arrived, and though their goal was Lloyd, their arrival saved Teria's life. At the same time, Lloyd, pierced by the magic spear, suddenly turned into soil and reappeared behind Gizom, attacking him with a sword. Unfortunately, the attack missed, as Gizom could instantly teleport. All this time, Silpa had been holding back his swordsmanship because if she used it seriously, her sword would break due to its inability to withstand her strength. If this continues, she might not be able to defeat demons like before. The bounty hunters thought reinforcements had arrived. However, in reality, they were still considered part of the enemy. Pointing his sword at them, Silpa asked where Lloyd was. If they didn't answer or dared to lie, he threatened to behead them. Ren explained that Lloyd was fighting a demon. However, because Lloyd had previously forbidden them from revealing his powers to anyone from the palace, they had to lie and say that Lloyd was fighting weak demon. Realizing they lie, Silpa was ready to cut them down, but Ren sincerely stated that it was understandable if they didn't believe him. However, at that moment, Lloyd was indeed fighting a demon who had taken someone precious to him. Not long after, a demon approached, and then Liru, Elise's pet, immediately attacked after sensing the demon's malicious intent. After this incident, Elise said that Ren and the others could be trusted because if they weren't, Liru would have attacked them just like before. To prevent further interference in the battle, Jisum destroyed the bridge connecting to the palace so that Silpa and her forces wouldn't be able to reach them, allowing Lloyd to use his full strength more freely. Meanwhile, a fierce battle was taking place in the lower area. Although the demons weren't very strong, the royal army was being overwhelmed because the enemies could regenerate continuously.
Attention is focused on you!
Quit spewing that generating may look easy, but it's a lot of hard work!
They definitely seems to be slowing them down at least. Still, their bodies...
The Lord! Way more firepower than the rest!
Damn it. They can still move it? Any ideas, El?
Meanwhile, Silpa had not given up on finding Lloyd. He had tried to ask Zero to jump over the river, but failed because it was too far. Not long after, a class demon suddenly attacked Silpa. Unlike the lesser demons outside, this demon mastered sword techniques whose power was on par with Silpa's sword skill. On the other side, Albert had just unleashed his final technique by combining sword power with his strongest magic technique, managing to burn the demons to the point that they couldn't regenerate anymore.
Came to your aid far too late. But I shall summon forth your liberation. A fire that reduces all I have left to offer you.
Despite their forms, we are facing demons! We shall eradicate!
Meanwhile, the battle between Silpa and his opponent still seemed even, but in fact, the demon had a slight advantage because he mastered the sword techniques of the Lordo's kingdom. This happened because the demon used the body of someone who had trained in swordsmanship for a long time. Despite this advantage, Silpa was not to be underestimated in swordsmanship. Unlike his opponent, she didn't need to take someone's body to master a technique.
So powerful, this defies reason!
What kind of training does it take to move that?
Drawing the sword that Lloyd had made, Silpa emphasized that the body that was stolen could not compare to the achievements of human wisdom itself. A few days earlier, Lloyd had given her the sword. The sword didn't have extraordinary magical effects, but it was more focused on durability and flexibility. Lloyd made the sword because he felt that Silpa was holding her power back when swinging her sword. Hearing this made Silpa feel truly noticed, so she promised to take care of her sword as best as she could. When Silpa tried the sword, the results were astounding. With her ultimate technique, she could cut her opponent in two.
I'll stop your nightmare onslaught.
Have it your way. Last secret, behold! My ultimate technique!
House of Langless. Leading
When de Saloum took away Jade consciousness, the last words Jade spoke to him, "You will lose," but de Saloum did not care about his words and immediately took over his body. A moment after Silpa defeated her enemy, the water around the castle suddenly evaporated, obscuring the view. This phenomenon was caused by Lloydo earlier. Lloydo had been attacked relentlessly by de Saloum, and in order to counter the attacks, he had tried various methods. However, all of these efforts were unsuccessful because the magic spear of Pregisel could easily pierce through the barrier layers. Moreover, the spear was both strong and fast, meaning anyone struck by it would surely die. What was most troublesome was its teleportation magic. Lloydo had to keep moving quickly to survive the sudden attacks.
I'm using those spears. This is getting tricky. Look at it, Wolf. It requires me to maintain a high rate of speed. 2 seconds, he'll read my position and teleport to attack.
Because Gizom's attacks were so disruptive, Lloydo responded by quickly casting a double spell to avoid getting hit. Even though Gizom thought he wouldn't be killed, he still dodged to avoid his clothes being burned. As a result, Lloydo's attack fell into the water, causing thick steam to rise. Although he couldn't see anything due to the steam, Lloydo was able to predict his opponent's position using his Kajutsu technique. Meanwhile, Gizom could no longer attack because his vision was blocked by the steam. This situation turned into an advantage for Lloydo. However, he couldn't just attack recklessly, as it would be dangerous if his position was revealed. To conceal his presence, he tried attacking with a large number of earthen puppets.
There you are, Prince. The only pest in... I should have kept the original further back. When you saw sorcery wasn't a physical approach. Which explains why you foolishly attempted to engage. Physical attacks don't affect me either. You can crush me want, but I'll instantly regenerate.
When Lloydo attacked with his puppets, Gizom could distinguish the real one based on the sword being used, even though the real one had already been removed. The puppets stood still, and none of them disappeared. It turned out that what Gizom attacked was Lloydo's clones, while the real Lloydo was standing in front, preparing to burn Gizom. Because it was difficult to distinguish which was the real one, Gizom had no choice but to attack all of them brutally.
It was obvious. Of course you'd protect your real body with another dirt puppet. And having to outsmart... I haven't had this much fun in centuries! Fighting demonic... 7th Prince?!
He didn't put a barrier!
Meanwhile, Lloydo quietly approached while hiding his presence. Using a mana-absorbing sword, he planned to unravel the magic used by his enemy. By attacking in this way, he could understand how the magic worked and find a solution to counter it. While analyzing the mana in Jade's body, Lloydo briefly checked whether Jade's consciousness still remained. However, since there was no reaction, Lloydo understood the action he needed to take. Without any protection, Lloydo told Gizom that while he was indeed strong, if that was all he had, it would only bore him. This statement made Gizom a little emotional, but he didn't care and immediately teleported to attack. However, each time he teleported, Lloydo attacked first. No matter where Gizom went, Lloydo could read his movements and strike him right when he appeared.
Lungs and increase the output amount.
More importantly...
Sorcery evolves from all fields.
This child... How did he know where I was teleporting to?
Me next.
Lloydo's attack was not magic. It was a martial arts technique that maximized breathing control. Even though his life was not in danger, Gizom felt excruciating pain from the constant blows. When Gizom was cornered, he finally released a magical technique only possessed by noble demons. By gathering mana from the atmosphere, he could create a massive black ball containing incredibly powerful magical energy. However, when he released the ball, Lloydo was easily able to neutralize it using the same technique. After learning that magic, Lloydo had once tried to combine it to observe the reaction it produced.
Or other interference. This transports it to another dimension. The only difference was the name. A while back, the spell. I fooled around disappearing things. Powerful on its own. But what happens if two went to testing?
No, 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 no! Realize just how much mana it takes to release a single mortal torch sphere!
Tentacle it would give off.
The result was just as seen earlier. The black ball neutralized each other until it completely vanished because that magic required a huge amount of mana. Initially, Gizem found it hard to believe, but when he touched Lloydo's head, he realized that Lloydo had an overwhelming amount of mana. With that much mana, Lloydo then threatened to use the neutralizing reaction on him. This way, even a demon like Gizem might perish. Not long after, Lloydo really did it. He sucked Gizem into a massive mana vortex and then collided with other mana to erase his presence for a moment.
This Shadow Wolf isn't working! If I don't make a move, it'll suck me in along with my shrine body! Power! There's no escaping it! At this rate, I'm going— Hey, Seven! You did it! I'm back! It's me, Jade! I got rid of Gisarm and saved me! I've gotten my consciousness back! Deal! Stop it! Are you really trying to murder me or something, you maniac? Galilea! Crow! Talia! Babylon! I don't care which one of you does it!
Jade's shadow appeared in the sky, which made Ren recall when Jade had talked about the greatness of the Seventh Prince at their headquarters. At that time, Jade was very confident that the Seventh Prince could erase their cursed magic, but his friends didn't believe it and instead said they would serve the prince if his words really came true. A little while later, Albert and the others came to meet Lloydo. Albert said he had heard everything, including information about Jade's rebellion and the bounty hunters who asked for his help. Lloydo's way of acting made Albert very proud of him. However, they were still criminals living in the dark world, so they would receive appropriate punishment. They had previously said they wanted to atone for their mistakes by serving Lloydo for life. Therefore, Albert warned that if these criminals made any mistakes, everything would be Lloydo's responsibility. Lloydo calmly responded that everything Albert said made sense, and he would take full responsibility for their mistakes. Not long after, Dao suddenly arrived to help Lloydo with his problems, but this time he was truly unnecessary because it was already too late. Nonetheless, Albert kindly thanked Dao for his past help, and Dao was invited to the banquet as a token of appreciation. Meanwhile, Silpa and the other girls went to bathe in the river.
Focus on having—
Insist? Hey, stupid maid! Serve me my cup!
My apologies, I goofed and slipped.
Your whoopsies are—
Keep things casual. Something tells me this is more to your liking.
But the thing with us, our old leader didn't really like getting a raucous fashion.
Then we'll make this a tea party in your style.
I mean, no need to go out of your way for folks like us, right? Screw it! Let's make this a laugh send-off!
Oh, yeah! Why'd you have to die? We'll all miss you!
I should have had the chance to date it! I wish I could have met Jaden first.
This is wonderful! I get to witness how common folk party. I'm sure.
Don't tell me.
Oh, I wish I could. But I'm conducting real business, you know?
It's always working!
Does this chick realize how big a hit Al is with girls?
Connected.
My buzz. That's called abuse of power, Talia!
Is this her no— That reminds me. You never did tell— Care to explain now?
He's an angry drunk.
Where's Silpha?
Come to think of it, Ren's also missing. Oh.
They didn't want to miss the chance because the river had turned into hot water. At the same time, Ren expressed his desire to work by Lloydo's side, just like Silpa. This way, the number of people supporting Lloydo would increase. Lloydo's adventure came to an end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so this